Welcome back to Nest Talk, the Emory Eagles Podcast. This week's guest joins us from men's tennis to discuss growing up in Singapore, serving as a firefighter overseas, and his success so far at Emory.
Welcome back to Nest Talk, the Emory Eagles Podcast. This is our third episode of the 2025-26 season, and fresh off of an ITA Division III doubles championship. That's a tongue twister. I am here with Matthew Johnstone.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Thank you. So let's jump right in. We'll talk about how you grew up. You grew up overseas in Singapore. So let's talk about that. And what was that like?
Yeah, I was born in Singapore, but I lived in Sydney until I was 6 years old. And then I moved back to Singapore once school started. I was enrolled in a completely local Singaporean school, and it was always tough to manage sports and academics just because in Singapore it's rare that anyone really pursues a sport at a high level while being in school. So I grew up playing what you guys call soccer and tennis. And then when I was about 12 or 13, I figured that I wanted to play tennis more with the only intention of playing for Singapore and playing on a national team. And I figured I wasn't good enough at soccer to play at a national level. So that's how I decided, and then I got way more serious when I was about 15 or maybe even 16. That's kind of when I figured I wanted to pursue tennis at a college level. And from there it was during COVID time, and I ended up talking to my parents and thinking about it. My coach talked to me a bit, and he proposed this idea of leaving Singapore, doing an online American school, and playing tennis full-time, living in Europe and traveling around the world to play under-18 international tournaments. And from there, basically in grade 11, I decided to do a major swap to an online American school, did some APs, and played tennis full-time, basically.
Did you receive a lot of backlash? Because you said it's not very popular to play tennis at a high level and go to school. Did you receive any backlash from your decision?
No, I think I'm really lucky. My parents are very open-minded about that kind of stuff, unlike, I guess, the social norms kind of may not be. And my friends were really just excited for me, I guess, a bit jealous that I could just leave school, because Singapore is definitely a very high stress level education system, and it's always about school and your grades. I didn't receive much backlash. I think at that time there were like more and more players from Singapore doing that, and it was a great experience for me, really.
Is there a really big difference for those who haven't been overseas or played overseas? Is there a big difference between tennis over there and here?
There is a big difference in tennis level in Singapore, mainly because as a junior player, there are only 4 junior tournaments per year in Singapore. And it makes it really hard for anyone serious to pursue it at a high level. So those that are interested and want to play more, they would play some tournaments around the region in Southeast Asia. But even then, until you get really serious, then you travel around Asia and so on. So those that just stay in Singapore to play, there is definitely a ceiling as to how good they can get, just because there are limited players, there are limited tournaments, there are limited resources, we have limited space, so we don't have unlimited tennis courts. The weather is always raining and hot, and it just makes it hard for any athletes in general to develop as a athlete, basically.
You've mentioned them a few times, so I want to ask, what kind of support system were your parents for you, and are they still being for you now that you're here?
They were always the type of parent to let me decide. They never put much pressure on me or stress. Any decision I made was kind of on me. For example, when I decided to leave local school to do an online school, that was basically me coming to them to tell them what I wanted to do. And they were nice enough to say, okay, yeah, go give it a shot. And it's always kind of been like that. If I wanted to train more, it's on me. And they've never, like, even if they come to watch matches, they're not the kind to commentate, to say too much. I would tell them to go further away, and they would just go further away. They wouldn't make noise. And yeah, so it's always been really easy for me in that aspect.
So now I want to talk about, you served as a firefighter in Singapore. How did that come about, and what did that kind of teach you about yourself?
That came about as I have two passports. I have a Singapore passport and an Australian passport, and at first wasn't sure if I needed to do military service, but I realized that I had to. If not, I couldn't come back to Singapore. So I ended up needing to do national service for 2 years, and majority of the people go into the army, and some go into the police, and some go into the civil defense side. So I was, in my eyes, lucky enough to go into the civil defense side because it allowed me to be a firefighter, and you have the option to be just a trainer as an instructor, or you can go to the real deal, go to a real fire station and work with the full-timers and do that for like 1.5 years. So I had to do 6 months of training, and then I was lucky enough to get posted out to a fire station, and I was a sergeant in the fire station. So I was leading 2 to 3 guys for whatever call we went to, like 2 to 3 other guys doing national service under me, and I will lead them into the fire or a rescue call or whatever that may be. And really, it's probably the best experience of my life. Like, it's really eye-opening to see the whole world. And even though Singapore is so small, there's so many parts that I had not seen. Different people from different backgrounds, different life situations, and working with full-timers in a real job, and you get in there and you're lost, and at the start you don't know what you're doing. So every call you're just learning, and it's definitely hard at first because when you don't know anything, they just keep on testing you. They throw stuff at you, like whatever situations, whether it's drills during the day, they would force you into those hard positions, and they'll say, what are you going to do here, Matt? Or like they'll tell me to lead the whole fire station a couple of days. And I was like 2 days into the job, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And the learning curve was steep, but it was very meaningful. Yeah.
Do you think that experience kind of influenced you here to say, I can come in here and be a leader?
I think so. I mean, leader, yes. I mainly only led small groups, but I do think I can lead a big group. As of now, obviously, I have no leadership role, but maybe in the future. I also think I've been trained to make quick decisions on the spot, and I've built up a lot of resilience just through being a firefighter, and all the stress that you face, every call when you have a heat pressure, time pressure, someone's life is at risk. That is something that I feel like I would never experience again, and I'm really grateful for that because it teaches you so much about yourself, how you react. I always thought I was good under pressure, like through tennis and traveling and playing so much. And when I got there and people's lives are at risk and it's not my own, and then you feel a whole nother level of stress. And then when you have to tell other people what to do, your mind can just go haywire and you have to think clearly. So yeah, definitely that quick decision making and the leadership skills. Yeah, hopefully I can transfer that into my college life.
I can't even imagine or begin to imagine the amount of pressure that must be. But now that you're here, and I kind of want to hear more about how you got here. What kind of drew you here? How's the recruiting process, especially for someone living overseas?
It was rough. Very rough. So when I left school and did online school, I was based out of Sweden. I was living alone with a friend, also from Singapore. And first of all, it was right after COVID, so like my rankings and everything was very low, and I was just trying to just play every week and get better because I had not had that opportunity in the past. And so most people in US, like, they start recruiting like one to 2 years before you commit. I started playing super seriously about 1 to 1.5 years before I committed. And so it was just hard because I was just trying to get my ranking up, my rating up. And tennis, we use this rating called like a UTR rating, and mine was a lot lower than what I would have thought it should be based off my international ranking. And it was really hard at first when I left school. I thought, I don't know, I could be this rating at this time and get into these schools, whatever. And after a while, I was like, I really started looking at more D3 schools because I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to go pro. This life is super hard and it's sometimes can be lonely. And I would like to play just at a college level and get a good degree. So then I looked at Emory, I looked at a lot of different D3 schools. And to be very honest, a lot of coaches could not gauge my level just because I'm not American and I'm not playing amongst all the Americans. So Americans have their own ranking. It's a lot easier to recruit that way. For me, they had no idea how I would fare against, I don't know, some American ranked 100 in the nation, someone ranked 50. They just saw my rating. It's a bit lower than what I thought. My international ranking, most coaches didn't really care that much. And I was lucky enough, I was having a really tough time and I was coming to the end of my 18th year, which is when I needed. So I think I wanted to commit at about like August to October kind of period in 2022 so that I could start school 2023 fall. And it was getting to like August, September, and some coaches had turned me down last second. They even said my academics weren't good enough because I had swapped schools halfway and my whole GPA got messed up. Courses didn't transfer properly. Tennis level they couldn't gauge. And then luckily Coach Browning saw my videos, and this was after like 3 emails, by the way. I'm glad he opened it. But he opened it, he watched the videos, and he said, oh, can I have a call with you? After that first call, I said, so what are the next steps? And he said, well, I want to offer you right on the spot now. Like, just tell me if you want it. I can give you some time. And I was like, okay, this is the first actual offer I've gotten. The others have been really flaky. And then I thought about it for 2 weeks. Said, Atlanta is good weather. I don't want to go somewhere so cold coming from Singapore. Good education, good tennis program, great balance, and balance between, your school, tennis, social life, everything's good. And I said, yeah, I think I would like that. And 2 weeks later, talked to some people, and I said yes.
At any point in that process before Browning reached out to you, did you ever have a moment of like doubt or, a moment of feeling like you wanted to give up because it was so hard?
I don't think I'm the type of person to give up, so I never felt like giving up. Definitely you have doubts once in a while. Like, it was really hard because they said my academic level was just not good enough. Because Singapore schools are like way harder than almost the whole world, minus a couple countries. And so like if I got like a 70 something in Singapore, that's equivalent to like a A in US, in my opinion. But when they converted that GPA, they said my GPA was like 3.2. And that was really hard for all the coaches because they automatically tiered me as a student with not good grades. and that made it a lot harder for me. But that being said, once I switched over to American Pro, it did lift it up with my SAT. It lifted it up, but it was still it was hard.
So now that you've been here in the first few months, you start the season at ITA Regionals, you win doubles, you move on to the ITA Cup and win doubles there. So what's kind of been working so well for you now that you're here?
It's just great to be competing again. I've been waiting to compete for 2 years. I've not been able to play an actual tournament while I was doing my service. And I've just been thinking of competing. And I think it's really just me just having fun. And yeah, it's been a good fall season for me. I won the regional doubles and I lost in singles in the semifinals to Feng, who ended up winning the whole ITA Cup. So I don't think that's a bad loss. And then we won the ITA Cup doubles, which is insane. I don't really know how we did it because me and AJ, we almost did not play together for regionals. The pairings were all up in the air. Browning just wanted to test some things, put us together. We said okay, we found out 1 week before, and then since then, it's been going good. We have great chemistry on and off the court, get along really well. I think our personalities are fairly similar too, in terms of energy level and stuff. So it's it feels comfortable, and we have fun together. So I think that's the main thing that has helped us a lot.
After seeing the success so early on in this fall season, does that make you really excited and just want to jump right into the spring season?
I think it would be good if we could have just jumped straight into it, considering how well the whole team has done actually. But also this break gives us more time to work on our weaknesses, and it's just good for the whole team to train more and know that we are already at that level and we can keep on getting better to give us a better shot for next year.
So outside of tennis, I think I talk about it with almost every guest. And you've kind of seen it already in Singapore, but the academic integrity of Emory is just insane to me. And the amount of work that you guys put in both to school and your sport is fascinating. So how has that been going? Do you feel like you have a little bit of an advantage with how hard Singapore education was?
Yeah, I think I do. And I'm glad that since a young age I've been put through this academic rigor. I definitely feel like it's manageable for now. When I'm traveling and then work piles up, that is the main problem. But during a normal week with practice and school, I find it pretty okay. Yeah.
So going back to the spring upcoming, are there any matches that you're truly looking forward to?
Oh, truly looking forward to. I don't think there's a particular school. There are maybe a few in mind that the coaches said that I wasn't good enough. Sadly, the common theme was, he's a bit smaller, his serve isn't as good, and they ended up choosing these big, tall Americans, which honestly, fair enough, I can see why. But definitely some of those schools that have said no to me, I'm definitely looking to play them.
And now that you guys have won the ITA Cup in doubles, is the next step a national championship for you? Is that the goal?
I think so. I think that has always been the goal from the start. We've always said the whole team is driven by the team and not individual success. And coming into the fall season, it was always like a warm-up for the spring, and we're only looking for that glorious NCAA championship at the end of the year in team. Obviously, when we got to ITA Cup, we were like, okay, we want to win this. And we didn't know that we had such a good chance, and we do. And we did. But, we just want to win an NCAA team championship. That'll be the goal.
So we always end with one piece of advice. And after hearing everything today from you, I want to know what your advice would be to someone who might be in the same situation as you, where they are going through a tougher recruiting process. And how do you get through that?
I would definitely say to stay optimistic. Just keep on working hard. And someone that sees the potential in you, they won't let that opportunity slip. And you just need someone to believe in you, and that's all you need. All you need is a chance, and then from that chance you can build off that. But overall, the biggest thing I would say is to have fun. I think for me, when I was a junior playing, I put a lot of stress on myself to do really well, to get my UTR up, so that I could get into a good school in college. And that just limited me so much. I think after I committed, I played the best tennis of my life. And then for 2 years, I couldn't play. And every week, that one hit is like the best feeling in the world. And I just love it. And coming here to be able to compete again is just so fun. And there's only so many years that we can compete at this level as athletes. And to just not waste any of that time and to enjoy everything is just the biggest thing, and it's the most important thing, I feel.
Definitely don't want to take things for granted. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You can find all of our episodes on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all of those, and follow us on social media, especially in the spring when you guys start up again, and we'll be following along.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode. Follow along on EmoryAthletics.com for more on your Eagles, and follow us on social media at Emory_Athletics. See you next time.